And then if you're wondering what that other hum is, that's actually the fan that we've added because Kelly is sitting in a suit in a tiny table in a corner. Does this feel good?
It feels great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I think it's weird to stick it on the table, but let's just call it like it is.
Yeah.
We're 4 hot men.
No,
Stop.
we are 4 men in an enclosed space that is not well ventilated. Let me just lay it out.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, Jeff.
Play this one for your staff. Someday you can be a senior director like me.
He's seriously rethinking his visit right now.
Yeah,
He's like, if I leave for the bathroom right now. Dudes.
Oh, yes, BeatiDudes Nation. Welcome to the BeatiDudes, a podcast / movement / I don't know what to call it, but it is something that's bubbling up within the U.S. Catholic Church.
Gas?
The worldwide Catholic, universal Catholic
the
Church.
BeatiDudes podcast.
Nope. Keep iterating.
For Christian men. We're literally on this journey together through thick and thin, and we are doing it all at a tiny table with our guests. My name is Jeff Schiefelbein. Grateful to be one of these dudes, along with Nick Bezner.
What's bigger than a movement?
Momentum.
Momentum. I like that.
Momentum.
That's
momentum.
mass times
this
velocity.
This is
Thank
a
you.
momentum.
You heard it here, folks.
We did it.
T-shirts coming. I would buy that one. The BeatiDudes. This is a momentum.
We put the in momentum.
All right. Scott, get on that. We'll have it on the website in 48 hours.
And for all of our older female listeners, you can put the mom in a momentum. Momentum?
Momentum.
It'd be momentum.
Yeah, it's already there. You don't have to.
It's spelled M-O-M in the rest of the word.
Okay, and Paul Kolker.
Hey, yeah, eventually. Hi.
This is a build-up. This is a climax moment. The
thank
first
you.
3 minutes of the show. If you liked what you heard so far, when Paul and Nick were talking, like 5 stars, subscribe,
Share,
start a new YouTube, and subscribe again.
And if you're still here, keep watching the episode.
There you go. And you
Yeah.
know what's going to happen on this episode? We're going to have a local friend, but a Catholic leader, and a man for men. And you are the size. You're one of the bigger sized men we've had at this table.
I can fit at the table.
Yeah, you're doing a great job so far.
You didn't say comfortably.
Yeah, no.
I did not.
And you dressed up for us. We appreciate that.
Of course.
Welcome to the show, Kelly Halaszyn.
Great to be here. Thanks
That's
for having
correct?
me. That is correct. Kelly Halaszyn.
What does Halaszyn mean?
It's Polish.
Yeah, that's what it means.
Yeah, that's what it means.
It's Polish.
It's Polish.
It means you don't
didn't-
understand.
You didn't research that before I sat at the table?
You don't know what I've researched because I don't know what I've researched either.
Jeff never knows.
Yeah. Kelly Halaszyn, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
How
Great
do
to
we
be
know
here.
you? What do you do in this local territory of Vatican Valley / Diocese of Dallas?
Well, let's see. I've been fortunate to be in the Diocese of Dallas a couple of times, most recently since 2016, that we came back from being in Houston and have been in Dallas since then, settled at St. Paul Richardson.
Nice.
That's our parish.
Nice.
And when I say we, I mean that's my lovely wife, Sarah, and our 2 boys who are 10 and 6.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild in our house.
All right.
2 boys, married for how long you been married?
We've been married since 2013.
So you don't even know how long. You went to the date so that you wouldn't have to do the math.
That is correct.
That
guilty.
is such a great answer. Don't answer the question. Answer what you know.
Stick to the facts.
I think you just described all politicians ever. Don't answer the question.
How long have you been married? We got married in 2011.
You answered.
So
kind
some
of.
number has been there. Yeah, well, no, that's actually awesome. What do you do for the Diocese of Dallas?
So I have the great fortune of working for the Diocese of Dallas on Bishop Burns' senior staff, and my role is Senior Director of Development. So I help Bishop raise money to support the local church here in the diocese.
From the looks of things, you're doing your job well.
I'm trying.
And I'm not trying to say there's just money flowing out of the Catholic Church, but this is a very booming, healthy, growing diocese that we are building churches.
Correct. We are abundantly blessed here in Dallas with the fact that many parts of the country are closing, consolidating, merging, and we are talking about growing, building, and expanding.
Can we take over all the other dioceses?
No comment.
We have annexed the Diocese of Des Moines.
So Dallas is this weird map.
It's like one of those things where we're going to start the railroad and bring them together.
There you go.
Oh, that long-awaited Des Moines to Dallas railroad.
Manifest.
People have been talking about that.
Manifest Diocese.
Seconds.
Seconds. They've been talking for seconds. Manifest Diocese does have a ring to it, though.
does. I like that.
I am track.
That's ridiculous.
I am who Amtrak.
That's it. That was implied.
I know.
Okay. But
That was implied.
Okay, by senior, does that mean there's junior people doing your work?
So I have a great team.
Not your work, doing the same type of
Sure.
work.
Supporting you in your work.
do you delegate everything to a junior staff?
I'm Kelly. What does that mean? It means
Senior.
you do it in Polish.
Amazing.
I am very fortunate that I've had a great team. So there's 10 of us on our staff on the Office of Development. So yes, I am able to delegate to the good work that my team is able to lead, so that I can focus on a whole bunch of other things. So
Nice.
If you're wondering what that hum is, it's Paul. And then if you're wondering what that other hum is, that's actually the fan that we've added because Kelly is sitting in a suit in a tiny table in a corner. Does this feel good?
it feels great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I think it's weird to
love
stick
that.
it on the table, but let's just call it like it is.
Yeah.
We're 4 hot men.
No, Jeff.
No, stop.
We are 4 men in an enclosed space that is not well ventilated. Let me just lay it out.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Jeez, Jeff.
Play this one for your staff. Someday you can be a senior director like me.
He's seriously rethinking his visit right now. He's like, if I leave for the bathroom right now.
Do you know what he can do?
Are we done here?
You have the ability that no one else does. Your boss could send a note and say, delete the files.
That's
and
true.
We would actually honor the request because he is our
Shepherd.
Chief
Bishop.
It's not a quiz. No, he's
Ecclesiastical advisor.
Oh.
Yes, thank you. I was going to say apostolic advisor, which he also is all of those things, but we officially have an ecclesiastical advisor.
Correct.
Is that the right
I
word?
think, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds right to me.
It's Bishop Edward J. Burns. So all you other bishops listening, you missed out. But we'll take your sponsorship dollars.
Before we annex your dioceses.
Yes.
So ridiculous.
We're going to annex just this stretch that spells out TBD for the BeatiDudes.
You guys have a very specific request list of the dioceses.
Now, can we carve out this part of this parish just straight up and down? Or this diocese?
You don't want the whole diocese?
Just the ones that...
You realize you're going to get me in trouble at the office.
Yes. No.
That's half the goal.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
You know, your boss came on the show and then turned around and told Tim Tebow all about it. So I feel like we're in safe territory right now. I mean, it's pretty easy to get past safe territory. 4 hot men.
No, yeah, Jeff, you didn't have to repeat it. We were in the clear. We were
moved
done.
on.
We were done with it.
Okay, well, I'm hot. I don't know about y'all. Okay, so, Kelly, what were you doing? We're going to come back to the diocese. What were you doing before the diocese?
So that's a great question.
Yeah.
I can backtrack a little bit to get to where we are.
Yeah, you backtrack as far as it's safe.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Previously on Kelly Halaszyn.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
No, there's nothing unsafe in here. But
No,
do you want to go all the way to the beginning and work forward or go backwards chronologically?
Does it have to be
No,
chronologically?
can you give us the events in alphabetical order?
Ooh, alpha order.
Yeah, so it depends on how you title them, I guess. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's true. Well, let's go back and then we can go forward. That'll be easier that way.
Okay,
So
perfect.
I was born and raised in Houston. Lived overseas for a couple of years, and we can get back to that later because there's some interesting stories there. Ended up went to Strake Jesuit in Houston, so grateful for my Catholic education. Looked at higher ed and said, well, if I'm going to continue with this Jesuit trend, there's 28 options in the United States. Narrowed it down to those that had an easy application because that's what a
It's important.
teenager does when making decisions. But grateful that St. Louis University was at the top of that list, and we just so happened to have a fantastic recruiter that came to Houston, and he's actually on your show not too long ago by the name of Chris Blackwell. So he recruited me to go to St. Louis University.
What?
Nice.
Crazy small Catholic world, I tell you.
How old are you?
I was born in 87.
Well played.
Good at math.
Well played, sir. Yes.
Man, I'm learning a lot about how to be a senior gift officer. How much is this going to cost?
Yeah.
We started working on this in 2011. What?
Anyway, so went to SLU, and for 8 years heard you should become a priest. Have you thought about becoming a priest? And obviously that's something I didn't take lightly. Took that discernment to heart, and I said, well, I'm gonna finish my undergraduate, which I majored in theology and Spanish, in the projecting that maybe I'll go back and teach, or maybe I'll become a priest, and that'll help maybe expedite that process.
Yeah.
Anywho, so graduated, moved to Houston because I had a job offer working for a small nonprofit organization where I'd volunteered with for about 6 years at that point. Volunteered with them in high school and then continued in college. And they offered me a job before I graduated. I said, great, I can go into my senior year not having to think about a job. Got one lined up and gave me the chance to move back to Houston. Worked with them as the Epilepsy Foundation, small nonprofit. I had no previous connection to epilepsy whatsoever. It's a neurological disorder. Had no connection to it. But volunteered with them and their summer camps, and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. Learned a lot. Started doing education outreach, battling that stigma associated with epilepsy. And a couple months into that gig, they said, well, we're going to move you to Dallas because you're young and single, and we need somebody to head up our Dallas office. And I said, okay. I'd done a little bit of everything with the small nonprofit, wearing a whole bunch of hats, did marketing, did communication, did grant writing, did a little bit of event work. They shipped me up to Dallas. This would have been 2011. And so in that, started working with our board of directors, started working more on fundraising, and really got the development experience and exposure that I hadn't previously had, nor in a million years did I think I'd get into.
Sure.
And worked with them for about 4 years, and that was kind of the opening my eyes to the world of fundraising. And realizing the incredible generosity that people have and the transformational difference it can make in the lives of the people that are served. For me, in that point, it was, the epilepsy community, and it was just really inspiring.
What did you think of your first foray into Dallas for those years?
Well, interestingly, I'd lived in Dallas previously.
Okay, got it.
And was here when I was in middle school, went to a middle school here in Dallas proper. And, so loved the community that I found myself here in Dallas as a young adult, settled at All Saints in far north Dallas.
Yeah.
And a couple months into being here, ended up at a young alumni happy hour for SLU alums. And there was 3 of us that showed up, myself, my now wife, and her best friend. And it was
great event.
Great event. great event.
Going off like a frog in a sock.
And come to find out that my wife, Sarah, she was a teacher at Ursuline Academy, was teaching theology. We started dating shortly thereafter and realized that, maybe that theology thing and teaching is not for me. It was for her, and she loved it, and taught at Ursuline for 7 years. And we were looking, after we were married in 2013. For those doing math.
Y'all been married for a while.
Yeah, we were married Epiphany weekend of 2013.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. We wanted to start our family, and it wasn't happening at that time. And she was looking to stop teaching, and I was looking at a new opportunity because at that point we had been married, and the salary I was making at the small nonprofit was just not conducive to wanting to start our family. And but I had always wanted to go back to Jesuit in some capacity.
Yeah.
It really meant a lot to my family. My 3 older brothers went to Strake Jesuit in Houston. We'll get back to the circumstances that took us back to Houston from being in Dallas.
Is that going to be in the second show?
That'll be on the second show.
Oh, you stick around because you're going to be blown away in the second show on Friday. That's my teaser.
There you go. Great. Thank you.
Can't wait. I'm going to listen to this one faster.
And then sit there for 4 days.
Right.
Just take a long nap in between shows.
Rip Van Winkle.
That's the guy who slept for like 100 years.
20
Yeah,
years or
20
whatever.
years.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Yeah, not 100.
Well, it was a long
How do you not
sleep.
know this story?
Imagine spending 7 days in the wilderness with the BeatiDudes, experiencing God's glory in the new evangelization.
Sounds amazing.
Well, that's not going to happen because we're not going, but there are these expeditions through CORE expeditions that you can go on. What's CORE?
CORE is an outreach of Wyoming Catholic College called Catholic Outdoor Renewal. They get you out into the wilderness where you can encounter God away from all the crazy clutter of our current age.
Bye-bye, cell phone.
COR, coreexpeditions.org.
The new evangelization. I don't watch the news.
Table it.
Okay, keep going.
Anyway, so ended up moving to back to Houston in 2014, and was able to serve as the alumni director at Strake Jesuit. So continued fundraising, learned a lot there. Great leadership in terms of them running a campaign and working with alumni and trying to engage from a development standpoint. Very different than the Epilepsy Foundation.
Yeah, you know that this is a real question for the two of you gentlemen in the middle of the table. Like Jesuit and Strake Jesuit are not the same school. One's in Dallas, one's in Houston.
Correct.
Do you have brotherhood, rivalry? Do you fight over things? Like, is it okay you're sitting by each other?
Yeah, I mean, I can stand it for like an hour. No.
Hour max.
No, like are those schools
Rivals
like brother
in any
schools,
way?
rival schools?
They're sort of like
one's Strake, the other one's not.
correct. We just call it Jesuit Dallas. Yeah. No, it's. I would say that like when it comes to certain sports, there is kind of a rivalry.
Okay.
Like I want to say, I know on swim team back in the day, we swam against Strake and New Orleans Jesuit. We did like a big bowl, whatever you want to call it.
Jesuit Super Bowl in the water.
Yeah, Super Bowl. The water bowl.
I
Yeah.
literally have
The water
never
bowl. I
asked
like
these
the water bowl.
questions. Like, what is
Yeah.
the similarities or differences? I also heard that the people from Strake Jesuit don't even act like Dallas Jesuit exists. I'm just kidding. That's always a
That's
good
not
rivalry.
true.
But
move.
it's like public. Back to our other Jesuit competition, if you remember, Strake is like public in their like academic and athletic competitions. Like they run at UIL, like
we
with other
did talk
public
about this.
schools.
Yeah, they won. Yep.
So they're unique in that way.
All right. Well, you're the first Strake person we've had.
Great to be the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're starting a new Strake today.
Yeah.
One for one. So no, I don't even know what Strake means. Is that a person?
So yeah. So actually, the interesting story about the school. So it was Jesuit College Prep of Houston, just
Okay.
like Dallas is Jesuit College Prep of Dallas, right?
Yep.
Which commonly Dallas Jesuit or Jesuit Dallas. The school actually, Strake Jesuit in Houston, almost went bankrupt because of some investments that were made in the local bank. But the Jesuits were missioned to start a high school there, and they did. With his bankruptcy, the Strake family, George W. Strake, he and his family very generously kind of kept the school going for quite a long time. And after he passed, the president at the time approached the family to say, because of the extraordinary commitment of the Strake family, we want to honor and recognize and thus rename the school from Jesuit College Prep of Houston to Strake Jesuit College Preparatory.
Two things. Praise God.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Number two, sounds like you've given that talk before.
You know, serving as the alumni director, I had to answer that a couple of times. Yeah.
I love this.
And
You're a
was-
good speaker.
And George W. Strake, not related to George W. Bush.
No relation.
I wanted to ask.
On account of how first names and middle names.
First name and middle initial.
No, I know.
That is
A lot of, Paul, a lot of my family's listening to this show, and we think differently.
Yeah,
we question everything.
I just wanted to make sure. That would have been uncanny.
that would, yes.
Okay, so
Worked at Strake Jesuit in Houston as their alumni director for a couple of years. Then we were blessed with our oldest, John Paul, JP for short, and all of Sarah's family's here in Dallas. So we, after some prayerful discernment, said we want to get back to Dallas and be closer to a larger family. My mom's in Houston, and she was working full time and doing great things. And she's been able to come up and visit us often, but. As a family, we wanted to make our way back to the DFW area. So we did back in 2016. And at that point, my prayer to God was, help me find a job doing anything that is going to help our family make this move back. It's been a lot of time in prayerful discernment about not knowing what that was.
was your faith strong during all this, or was it growing? How was the maturation process of faith in this?
thanks to my wife, very strong. And I say that
Women are awesome.
I know they are, but her faith, especially in her prayerfulness and her devotion to Our Lady, which we'll get to that on Friday's episode.
I love this setup.
Tease.
Friday, and this one's good too.
But just her faithfulness and devotion, and it wasn't just the intellectual. Like, I feel like I have more of the intellectual, just because I
You literally just said I think I have more intellectual than my wife.
No, from the relationship. Faith.
Got it. Okay,
Yes,
sorry.
yes.
I just
from
So you have a more intellectual relationship with your faith. Is that what you're
correct.
saying?
Yes, that's what I'm. Thank you for clarifying, so I don't have to sleep on the couch.
So you're maybe more driven from the head, she from the heart.
Yes.
men and women are different.
Correct.
Keep going.
So we, again, have been looking for anything to get us back. And we had made the decision that we wanted her to be able to be home to raise our family. And so I took that responsibility very seriously and discerning what God was calling me to. And, a lot of dead ends, but there was one opportunity that presented itself, and that was ultimately what got us back to Dallas, and that was the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. World-class orchestra.
That's not a small outfit, man.
Not at all.
Got a lot of closed doors, and then the Dallas Symphony.
Yeah.
Why not just? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the opera or the symphony?
Well, it was heavenly music was what I was going
Angels
for.
singing,
Yeah. But thanks for calling me out.
The rays of light coming down, shineth upon your face.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I was. Thank
Beautiful.
you. I'm not close enough to the board to do these kinds of things.
I literally was like, "Do we have harps on here?"
And you found it instantly.
So
Well
fast.
done.
Yeah, thank you.
But
Yeah, Jeff.
I will forever be indebted to the leadership of the symphony because of the opportunity that afforded me to one, get back here. And it was a great 4 years. I learned a lot in terms of a very well-established development operation, great organization, and great leadership that I was privileged to work part of. One story I'll share is the president at the time. You have a world-class symphony orchestra that is performing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I remember our onboarding process, he shared, the musicians have to perform flawlessly every time, because this could be somebody's first exposure to the symphony.
Yeah.
I expect the same level of precision and expertise from the staff.
Wow.
So if the front end and the back end are performing, in sync, that's the level of expectation that I have. And I said, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Because I hold myself to a high level. I expect others to also, follow suit in that regard. So it was really inspiring for the years that I was there. But it was very challenging. It was very, very challenging. The demands of that role, working in corporate and foundation giving, with the economy being what it was in 2018, that was really difficult to raise corporate support. A lot of conversations that were dead ends. But I learned a lot in terms of, one, the rejection of the constant no, which, you overcome that and makes you stronger in terms of take the no into a way of turning it into a yes at some point if it makes sense for that donor. But just the well-roundedness of that team. I had done development at that point for about a decade, and it was shooting from the hip and not a lot of strategy and whatnot, because it was small teams, whereas the symphony was a very large team. And as such, I was able to learn from experts in our field.
It's such an established presence.
No.
Yeah.
So I loved it. It was a great experience. And that's what, got me through getting us back. But the reality of the demands of the role, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday concerts, we had another kid on the way, started to take its toll and not being home. They wanted to move me into another leadership role. And I said, that means I'm going to be gone even longer than I already am. Yeah. And so for about a year, really prayed on that from a work-life balance, from just being present to my job, but being present to my family as well, and the impact that had on my wife. And, the Lord provided Epiphany weekend of 2020 with kind of saying, here's where I want you to go. And that's what led me to the diocese.
Awesome.
Kid you not, it was Epiphany weekend of 2020. just like we were married on Epiphany weekend in 2013.
Good season for you.
It was
Here's
a great
little
season.
epiphany for you.
And prayed with that, and I said, and then just the "Here I am, Lord, where do you want to send me?" And that was actually the psalm for today's readings as we celebrate the feast of the Annunciation.
Today.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just "Here I am, send
Not
me."
for you listening, for
Yeah.
us. We're having it. We're having it, and you're watching us have it.
As of time of recording.
Jeff, like you, I also overslept this morning in a really uncommon, I don't know, it's like a business partner connection. I don't know.
Very connected.
It's weird. But today was the last day, or is the last day of the 33-day consecration that I've been doing to Mary. So you're talking about a devotion to Mary. But I was like, I missed it this morning. So I've been looking forward to get home, get the girls in bed so I can finish out.
I hadn't yet shared with our viewers that I overslept this morning by 3 hours.
Yeah.
But tells you that I still got up at 6:15. But what's so funny is
Classic Jeff.
Sleeping in.
pathetic. Yesterday I finished a Mary Undoer of Knots novena, and then somehow didn't set the alarm for 3:27 this morning.
There you go.
And I think that was Mary. Like, I got you. Just rest a little bit.
You
Why don't you just sleep a little bit?
3:30. You got to be on the odd numbers.
Oh, I 3:27, because if it's an odd number, then I'll convince myself that I could hit the snooze. If it's a really weird number, then I won't hit the snooze.
What?
Wow.
One more. Okay.
Do tell more.
We'll
please.
take this offline.
3:30, I would convince myself that that's just a rounded number and snooze is okay. If it's 3:27, I convince myself there must be a really
There's
good
a
reason why I'm
specific
getting up right
reason
now.
for that.
Oh, weird little.
It's like a pricing game
I
with
like
my
that.
wake up patterns.
Sure. I like that.
Yep.
This is also coming from the guy who listens to airplane noise in his headphones when he's on an airplane.
Correct.
Just to be
gotta
clear.
drown that airplane sound out.
It's magical.
Uh,
People move their mouths on the airplane.
and you're like, hey, I'm on a silent airplane.
All true stories.
That's incredible.
Thanks for
Wait, did you ever? So you went to that many symphonies? I guess you were like in the skybox smoozing. Like
Yes.
what did you do during the actual symphony itself? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Shoot spitwads at the violas, or
No, don't quite do that. Now, oftentimes, we'd have a corporate group there, so I'd, host their pre-concert reception, meet and greet with them. Then I'd go back up to the office. They'd actually pipe in the concert from that night, so I'd be working for an hour or so, and then head back down for intermission, meet the guests that we were with.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was a post-concert, opportunity. So then it's sticking around until that
Pretty
concert's
late.
over at 10:30, and then doing the reception with musicians afterwards. Which
Did you
is
ever
really neat.
interpret a piece of music for somebody?
No.
Okay.
I made it very clear in my interview that I don't have a music background.
Oh, I don't have a music background, but I would have interpreted everything.
I mean, sometimes I'd read the concert book, but more often than not, I really didn't.
no, Jeff would have just been throwing curveballs.
You guys see what's happening here, don't you? Oh my goodness. Okay, so baby number 4 is on the way. You discern through this whole thing. No,
Baby
two.
number two.
Two,
Baby two. 4
4 years apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew what I meant to say.
There you go.
I slept too much.
That's great. I knew what I meant to say.
I called a priest saint today. They're like, "What?" And I'm like, "No, it's future
Father.
saint."
Father,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
saint.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
when did were you still working there when number 2 showed up?
Yeah.
Another little boy.
Another boy.
Who
So,
you named the first one John Paul?
John Paul, and then our second is Zachary. So
Yes.
Zach.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Cosmas Damian
Ooh.
because of the canon
Sure.
in Mass. John and Paul,
Yeah.
Cosmas and
Yeah.
Damian. Okay.
That would
Anyway.
have been smart. We should have done that.
No.
You can call him
not-
CD.
It's not too late to have a family
JB.
meeting.
CD and CD.
Cosmos,
Zach, I have important news to share with you. We're changing your name.
just so that we can a couple times a year have this celebratory moment during Mass. Oh my goodness. We need to talk in a minute deeply about helping you get tons of money from all over the world, including our Australian audience, for the Catholic Diocese of Dallas, so that we can show all the dioceses that we're going to annex how to do this properly. But before that, maybe we can harness the spirit of Cosmos, Damien, John, and Paul with a little game.
A game called Blessed Are the Joke Makers, for they shall inherit the points. 115 points.
Ooh, 115.
Kelly,
All right.
big moment here.
Big time.
And
Have you seen the show?
I have.
Paul's
Okay.
going to explain it to people who haven't.
Yeah, so if you're new to the show or you just really like hearing my now polished explanation,
Polished.
that's polish, you wouldn't understand. All right.
That was very good.
Thank you. So we have a character card, Catholic card game card. We have to answer the prompt on the Catholic card game card as this character, and you just get to decide who done it best.
Oh, very good.
It is all or nothing, winner take all, but you are the judge. You get to decide. There are no criteria but your own. All right, we got it?
115 points.
That's it. 115.
Does the fan feel okay?
Yeah, it feels great.
Okay. Here to help you.
Okay. Sure. I don't need to butter you up because I'm already a big fan of yours.
Oh, nice.
Uh,
What do you have?
okay.
You're about to find out what I have.
All right. Here we go. The character we have to become. Nope. That gets political or whatever. We got to sift through these again. Okay. As a spoiled, rotten kid, all right, being Catholic is the best because of blank.
Being Catholic is the best because, every year you get more presents at your birthday, and last year I got 36, now this year I got 38 presents, and it's just the best. But, being Catholic is the best because you get the source and the summit every week at Mass.
Jeez, this is hard. You can keep this in there, Petro, but you're going next, Paul.
Okay.
I want to say that being Catholic is the best because every time I'm at Mass, I get to hear both my names said in the canon of the Mass. So I hear Cosmos and Damien every single time. My parents named me that on purpose so I feel special in every single Mass. It's like I'm a part of it, plugged right in. And well, I kind of am because if I throw enough of a fuss, my parents take me out, and so then they miss out.
Being Catholic's the best because I started drinking when I was 8.
What?
I'm just thinking of spoiled kids. I don't know.
I mean, that's possible.
It's possible.
Of the choices you could have made, that was one of them.
That was our choice.
That was our choice.
That was a choice.
I recuse myself from winning.
No, you've done this before, and then you win.
You're not winning today.
Come on. 115.
115 points, huh?
Did you see
Is that
the...
like a drum roll for this? For
Well,
my
sure.
decision making?
Yeah,
you
you
just
know
did
what?
it.
There was some humility in my admitting that I was struggling through all of it.
Yeah, but it's not. What?
I don't know what the drum roll looks
That's
like.
not the
Don't
drum
worry
roll.
about it.
Drum
All
roll.
right, what do you
Drum roll,
drum roll?
please.
Because of the potential need to rename my child, I think I'm going to go with Paul.
Oh my goodness! Well, Paul, for the win, I don't even
Paul
have a
for the
song
win.
queued up here.
Paulist.
So, Paulist. So listen, for being our celebrity guest judge today, you're getting some St. Anthony socks from sockreligious.com. Look at this, man. He looks
Those
like
are
he's
awesome.
holding
Those are cool.
Cosmos Damien in here.
Those are really hard to lose.
That's right. Franciscan Friar. Here you go, brother.
That's awesome. Thank you so
Socks
much.
from sockreligious.com. For the rest of you, go buy your own, and we'll see you right after the break.
Hi, it's Paul Kolker from the BeatiDudes here, and I just wanted to share with you guys that I also, outside of the show, perform improv comedy on a regular basis with a group called Divine Comedy. So what we do is we come up with everything on the spot, so whether you're looking for faith-filled, fun, family-friendly comedy for your youth night, or whether you're looking for clean comedy for your corporate event, Divine Comedy can perform for your group and even get you in on the action. So if you'd like to hire us to come out and perform for your next event, check out DivineComedyImprov.com. Divine Comedy, an inferno of fun.
Nick, when it comes to investing, I just feel like money and morality don't always line up. What's the answer?
Often that's the case, but our friends at Aquinas Wealth Advisors have a really great solution. It's called the Faith and Finance Score. You go on their website and you put in your info. They tell you where you're invested and where it doesn't actually line up with where you want to be.
So you mean I don't just have to funnel money towards a retirement fund where I don't know what it's investing in?
That's right, you don't. And you don't even have to give up or sacrifice returns. You can get both.
So just get on the computer. Bing! And I type in the website.
AquinasWealth.com. It takes longer to type than it does to get your faith and finance score.
Thanks, guys. Great job, Nick.
You betcha.
You know what I think is hard about starting a business? Healthcare, for crying out loud. It's expensive. It's intimidating. At the end of the day, you're probably paying for stuff you don't even agree with. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
I knew you could. So what we did is we started working with Solidarity Health Share. Totally different. These folks are aligned with us morally and ethically. And even the structure from a cost perspective works for us as we're launching businesses, as we're growing our families. And I don't know if you know this, but a couple times my kids went to the hospital in the last 2 years.
They sure have.
Yours?
But Solidarity has walked with us through all of it, including some crazy stuff for Benny Pro, my little boy. So all of this to say, I would encourage anybody out there thinking about their own business, their own needs, check out Solidarity Health Share for a better alternative to regular healthcare. So check out learnmore.solidarityhealthshare.org/BeatiDudes.
Stop what you're doing and listen to the BeatiDudes.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here with Kelly Halaszyn. And Kelly from the Diocese...
Polish.
It's Polish, not Polish. From the Diocese of Dallas. And I actually met with one of your colleagues recently, and he was kind of showing me all the different things cooking and working in the development of the whole corridor up I-75 or Interstate whatever turns into 75. And just tell us more about the things going on. What are the big developments? What are you working on? What are your big goals for the year, the decade? I know you probably think longer than a year in your office. So what's under construction?
That's awesome. It's incredible how blessed we are here in Dallas. Dallas is an area that continues to grow. You see that when you sit in the parking lot of 75. The constant stream of people wanting to relocate to this area. And as I look at our churches, it's incredible to see how filled they are. And I know it can be a challenge for some, saying that there's not a place to sit or a place to park. But the reality is that's such a blessing because so many other parts of our country are not blessed with that reality as people are either relocating or the church numbers are diminishing where they're having to close, consolidate, and merge. Here we rejoice with the enormous responsibility that is. And so, just to backtrack a little bit, when I joined the diocese in 2020, we were dealing, of course, with the pandemic, right? So my first year was really focused on our parish offertory and making sure that they had the resources that they needed, that we were able to get our parishes to do online giving because so many hadn't at that point. And that really helped. And that was my first year. My second year was, sitting in the pew, you hear about the bishop's annual appeal and you're like, well, what does that go towards? What does it do? What impact does that have? And I said, that's a problem if I'm now working here and I still don't know what it actually does. And I said, we've got to change that. So I said, we've got to communicate better with the faithful of the diocese, share with them what the appeal does and what the funds are used towards. 30% of the funds raised go towards seminary and education. If we want to have future priests, we need to invest in the appeal. And that's the way that we do it as the church. It's not one church that's responsible for the formation of the men. It's the diocese, and that's the bishop's responsibility. And we're blessed with the great seminaries that we have with Holy Trinity and Redemptorist Mater, and the number of men that we have in formation here. So that was my second year. My third year, was really focused on Catholic education and realizing that there was a need for more development work to help support our Catholic schools. We've got incredible Catholic schools, but so many just do not have the tools or resources or the staffing to raise the funds at the local level. So we were able to add to our team to be able to help support that. And my fourth year was really looking at planned giving, looking at we are, as we are faithful, we are gifted with who we are as Christian stewards. And as Christian stewards, what does that mean? That all that we have is a gift from God. We need to return that gift to our Lord with abundance. And realizing that it's not something that's talked about, legacy giving, of what impact can we make here and now and what can we make after our passing from the personhood, but also the financial resources. And so that was really a priority for my fourth year. Now moving into year 5 is thinking ahead. We've been fortunate with Bishop Burns, of course.
That's why you came on the BeatiDudes.
That's why I came here. Got an important message to share. Bishop Burns called for a Diocesan Synod. And that Diocesan Synod was a chance to really understand what are all of the needs of diocese. What are we doing really well? What are areas that we can improve upon? And how do we forge a plan forward to take care of the faithful, take care of our diocese, tend to the flock, and that synod happened in December. And now we are in the process of a diocesan synod implementation to look at everything that was discussed and come up with a roadmap and a plan forward. And from a development standpoint, we're lockstep with the Implementation Commission on what does that mean financially? Because there will be some areas where, there'll be a cost reduction because we may do things differently. But in other areas, it's meeting that growth need, land acquisition potentially to meet the future needs up north. There's no question. The diocese continues to grow up until the border. So how do we take care of the faithful that are residing there or that will reside there in the next 25 years?
Annexing dioceses.
In the border of Wyoming.
Maybe just some land.
Maybe just land.
Within the diocese.
I have
Within
a
the
plan.
9 counties of the Diocese of Dallas.
We have
This
a
isn't
plan.
like a diocese merger, guys.
No, we're not announcing anything, just to be clear.
Yeah.
Full disclaimer.
We don't work for the diocese. We work with them.
And I hope to continue to work for the diocese after I serve on the BeatiDudes
I think
here.
all I'm seeing is that you're doing such an incredible job that it's causing people like us, the lay faithful, to imagine even bigger dioceses. So
We've got big plans.
you're amazing.
Oh, thanks. We have a great team that I'm privileged to be a part of. And the faithful, the fact that we have 1.4 million Catholics that make up the Diocese of Dallas in our 9 counties, it's just incredible.
I'm trying to grow that number every day. I have 7 kids. It's funny.
Okay, wait. So now I have a question on that. You said 1.4 million Catholics. What would you say, because you probably have this stat or at least an approximation.
Sure.
What is the percentage that either gives on a regular basis or gives to the annual appeal? Like just some sort of metric.
This is great.
Because I think sometimes it's good for us to hear, like, whether we are giving or aren't.
Sure.
It's just good for us to know, like, oh, well, maybe I can give a little more, or let me find the way to really live. The Lord said the measure with which you give is the measure that will be given to you, right? Like, so how do I live out of maybe a larger measure?
Sure. It's a great question. Looking at the appeal itself, it's about 10%, a little under 10% of the Catholic population that's supporting the bishop's annual appeal. So it raises about $9 million. So
Which could be $100 million.
it could be.
If the math.
Yeah.
The math.
We'll take any number between those two in participation levels.
Yeah, so it's obviously not bad that 9 million is being raised. That's incredible.
Sure.
But when we look at the population and what we're called to be able to give, now I'm sure that there's disproportionate amounts given, right? Like there's certain people who
of
are
course.
wealthier, and so they're giving more or can.
I look, the number is one thing. The financial goal is one thing. It's the participation. If we could grow the participation in the appeal, knowing that it's the shared ministries of the church, it's seminarian formation, it's our diaconal formation, it's supporting our Catholic schools, all of the things that make up the church that folks just don't recognize. They assume it's getting handled. Well, the way it gets handled at a diocesan level is through the appeal. And that's pivotal. So
Don't complain without participation.
thank
and then
you.
stop complaining and just participate.
Yeah, do both and.
That's my tagline.
Yeah, stop complaining and participate. Don't just sit there complaining and not participating. Do both.
And I would say, this diocese is filled with incredible generosity, and that is evident in all that has been done already in this diocese and building our churches and our schools. You asked the great question: what's on the horizon? We're looking to build a Catholic school in Collin County, in northern Collin County, because there is a huge community that has been longing for a Catholic school in that area. And land was acquired through the generosity of the faithful through the last capital campaign. We're working on this campaign to help build Mother Teresa Catholic School. We know that there are other incredible projects that will come out of the synod that will help, grow the work of the diocese and grow the impact of the faithful. And that's going to require investment. There's no question that's going to require investment in the generosity, sacrificial giving of the faithful that will be called upon in due course. We're not starting a campaign right now, so don't worry there. But laying the foundation for what eventually will become, particularly coming out of the synod as a new way of doing things. And my hope as Bishop continues with his pastoral letters, he just had one for Ash Wednesday. Yep. We'll have one for Easter. We'll have another one at Pentecost, and then the big letter with more of that plan at the end of the year. That it changes the way that we think about the ecclesiology of the church. That's the beauty of the Catholic Church is we're not congregationalist. That we belong to a parish community and we have our local pastor, and that's wonderful. And we have incredible pastors here in our diocese. But we also are part of a Catholic church, one holy Catholic and apostolic church. And how beautiful it is that it takes all of us working together to advance that mission that's been charged with the bishop. And he's in charge of all of that. And we have that responsibility to help support that effort moving forward.
Sure. So when I think about Dallas, whether this is an answer that any of us have, and Kelly, maybe you have insights, or it's a hypothesis, why is Dallas growing, thriving, adding, synoding when so many other dioceses are not? And this is not a knock on anybody else, but what made this happen? And I can give you some hypothesis.
Yeah, but from your vantage point, what are you seeing that leads you to believe that this, or that is the instigator of a lot of this growth?
I mean, I think Bishop said it best. The pandemic caused a great tragedy in the church here in Dallas. I mean, the difficult decision that he made, and I think he spoke on that when he was here, that heartbreaking decision to close. Yeah. And with that decision, realizing there's got to be a historic response to everything that we just went through.
Yeah, not just to start opening the doors and get back to normal.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we've got to really do some soul searching and think about how we're going to pave the way forward. And I think, to his credit, very much so, the desire to enlist the expertise of the faithful, the leadership of his pastors among the presbyterate, to call for the synod was very wise. To be able to listen and understand, and I mean, being a participant of the synod, it was truly incredible and inspiring to hear the faithful, the respect and appreciation, to see the responses that people had to varying topics. And how one or two people would share, never in a million years that I would think of things from that perspective, because that doesn't impact my life that way. But when you raise that as church, how important that is, because that's what makes up the church from all of those different vantage points. It's truly beautiful.
I went to one of those listening sessions serving as an MC, and we're way past the listening sessions, but there was thousands and thousands of contributions in those. But this one was geared for people that had left the church. And they do their small groups, they submit their stuff, there's some Q&A. And during the Q&A, I listened to Bishop issue just a very personal, touching reflection on the hurt that people have had in the church and his apology to what they experienced. And a lot of it had to do with old scandals and different things that have really impacted and changed people's lives. And I didn't see a person in this giant hall that wasn't just moved to tears. And it just shows you, I think, too, that people know they have a real shepherd that they can connect with and not just a politician.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, how can people get involved in supporting the Diocese of Dallas? Just because we're going to annex you at some point. So wherever you are, this is actually just...
Might as well just help out now.
This is a nationwide appeal for your own good.
A momentum appeal.
Do you want to be part of a momentum? Send money to the Diocese of Dallas. How do we do it?
Number of ways to support the diocese. The diocese, is made up of 77 churches, 36 schools, and a whole lot of other organizations. You're called to support what's meaningful to you. When you look at a tithe, for some, that is a full 10%. What does that breakdown look like? Maybe it's a percentage to the appeal. Certainly a percentage to your parish, and then the other charitable organizations that are meaningful and important to you. There's a long list. BeatiDudes certainly should be on that list. But it's
I didn't even pay him to say that.
You didn't, but I'll take payment later. Bishop's annual appeal. But it's I would invite, if you're listening, to get involved with your parish. Give generously to your parish. Our pastors are working hard. We have very hardworking pastors here in the Diocese of Dallas. Support them. When called upon, respond as generously as you can. Know that the generosity that you give will absolutely be abundantly returned, because our Lord is generous. Our Lord is not a God of scarcity, but is very much a God of abundance. So give if it hurts a little bit. Give a little bit more, knowing that the impact that makes in our community will be significant.
You heard it, folks. And the website is
DallasCatholic.org.
See?
DallasCatholic.org.
I knew part of it said Cath.
The middle part.
Am I going to go chronologically or just give you all the different component parts?
You were trying to go by reversed alphabetical order.
That's it. No, but I do think that's beautiful, because we live in a very materialistic world, society, culture, all of that. And for good reason in some ways, right? Because we've been able, because of ingenuity and all this stuff, to produce a lot of incredible things. So it's not that that's necessarily all bad, but not getting stuck in those things and thinking that those are the answer to our problems. So that, the Lord says, treasure in heaven, right? So where your treasure is, there your heart will be. And don't put in your investment in where thieves break in and steal and all of that. So it's just like,
where do you store your riches?
Yeah. Do you know, I'm going to go back to like the giving part too. And this is me no longer teasing, but threatening.
So it's going to be really polite sounding? Yeah.
Have you ever considered that if
wow, I feel so threatened.
If you go into a place that you visit all the time, that the electricity's not free and that the materials are not free and that the person who's leading that thing has to make some sort of a stipend, including all the staff around them. Like I remember being in New Orleans with Rich Kelly, and he has an apartment down there. And he gave his offertory, and as we're walking back, he goes, every church you ever walk into, you need to donate to your means an amount of money that covers the absolute bare part of, I used your electricity, some of your materials, you serviced me there, like I received a service. And he's like, that's just for being here. That's not even my tithe.
Yeah.
That's the part of, I owe you something.
It's like going to a charity gala
That's
or whatever
free.
That's free because somebody invited you and you don't do anything.
Yeah, give them $40 because that's how much the chicken cost.
Right.
Like you would have paid for lunch at Chili's.
You went out to eat.
Give them $40.
Yeah.
Now you should give more, but don't give zero because that actually just costs them money. Yeah.
Well, and just to add a word of encouragement on this as well, I remember when I first started, like, because I was a teacher for a while, so I felt that pinch of like, not quite making as much money, and then found my way back into engineering. And once I actually started making money in the engineering world, I was like, oh, well, yeah, no, I have more of a responsibility here. And so I gave one time like a bigger amount than I thought I could or would normally. And I remember feeling freer afterwards.
When you were a teacher at Jesuit, I heard that story about the time that you were penny pinching a little bit and you ended up giving that guy your cloak off of your back, that you were still helping other people by giving out the cloak. I don't know. I was thinking about like, if you have two cloaks, give them.
That was a scripture reference. Yeah. I was like, wait, is this a real?
Did I give a cloak?
Was there a moment that I
gave a cloak?
Did Cloaker give it out?
Yeah. Nice. And when I was pressed into service, I walked an extra mile. Yeah, that's what you were going for.
That's funny. When he slapped me, I just turned the other cheek. Hey, do you want to finish this show with a pizzazz moment? That's a dumb question.
The answer is yes.
Okay, so we're gonna go back in time. We're gonna go back to 2017 in the Dallas Symphony. Is that about the right time?
Yeah.
Okay, and head of junior development guy Kelly Halaszyn, it's Polish, is here to rub elbows with a couple of young, up and coming future guys with money, Nick, Jeff, and Paul, One of them is not so young because he's still in his 40s, even though we're going back in time. But what happens here, Paul, can you explain how this game works with the lines?
Yeah, so we're going to be having a conversation, but every so often we have to reach into the hat and pull out a line to finish the line of dialogue.
Okay.
And then we have to, as a group, try to justify why the heck that was just said.
So it's a lot of yes and sticking with whatever comes next. And I haven't seen any of these. I thought of this just an hour ago. We've done it before, but this is different because we've never done it with you.
Well,
That could be every reverse.
Well
sense.
said. Well said. You've never had that set up for it.
215 episodes into this. I've never put a fan on the table. That was our reverse Simpsons.
There you go.
All right. Well, will you set the stage for us, Paul, opening the scene here and get into character? You're Kelly Halaszyn. It's Polish.
It's Polish.
And you are raising money for the symphony.
Okay.
And here comes 3 guys who look like they might someday be something.
Wow, this place is run with clearly a huge amount of excellence. Like, I mean, I can't tell whether you're one of the performers who's perfectionistic or one of the backstage, support staff, everybody who's perfectionistic. This is incredible. I mean, the level of excellence here reminds me of something my grandfather used to tell me. He would always look at me and say, "Memento mori."
You know what? Yeah.
Which means remember death.
Yeah.
But I think he was playing into what that guy that we're about to meet up with, Kelly, was talking about, that it was a memento. More so. Me.
That's probably what it was.
So he was doing a double entendre.
A little bit of Italian there.
Yeah, he was
Mori.
He had 3 languages going, and he was trying to get you to remember just what this is all about. Well, I didn't realize the symphony, if I'm not mistaken, is at the Windspear Opera House. Am I correct? Nope. No. It's at the what?
It's at the Meyerson.
The Meyerson.
Next door to the Opera House.
They look alike to me.
They're really, really close geographically.
So I went next door first and I said, is this where the symphony is? And that's when the head usher, who didn't seem to have a high level of professionalism, it was very different. I mean, it was good. It was just not at the most excellent memento I've ever seen. He said, everything is my fault.
Wow, he just called you out.
Yeah, and I was thinking...
Did he mean your fault? Like
that,
Jeff's fault?
He
or
said
his
everything
own?
is my fault, but he was looking at me with his eyebrows really big. As if he was making me say the words back, as a everything is my fault. And he goes, now get out of here.
Well, see, that's interesting because I had gone just next door to the cathedral there, the Dallas Cathedral of Our Lady of Guadalupe, and the usher there was just like, "You're killing me, Smalls." And I was like,
he must get it all the time.
I mean, I thought they may play some orchestral music here in the cathedral.
It's beautiful, so you would think.
Right.
Yeah. I went to confession there one time, and the penance I got was...
Did you go to the cathedral or to the Meyerson?
The cathedral. I didn't just confess to some guy at the Meyerson.
A cellist.
Yeah, but at the end of confession, the priest said to me, "Totus tuus," and I was like, "Oh, I should be all for Mary."
Yeah,
because this is our Lady
this
Guadalupe.
Is so spot on. Kelly, what caused you to look at the 3 of us and say this would be worth my time as a development officer for the symphony? Like, what caused you to think that was a good idea? There's a bunch of things in front of you that could inspire you.
Let's see. What really made me think that these guys would be great resources. They're really resemble a mean, muggling toddler.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. And I think part of that was after the symphony did that Harry Potter thing and they were talking about muggles all the time.
Yeah.
I just drank a muggle of coffee in a little while. No, it's I really appreciate that though, because it's the childlike joy that we try to bring to the show. It makes me think of a slogan I saw on a sign at Hobby Lobby one time that said, "From diapers you start, and to diapers you might end."
That one is deep for Hobby Lobby.
Right?
That really goes.
You're not going to hang that one in your kitchen.
But
No, that one goes for the bathroom.
That goes to the bathroom, yeah.
But I feel like that is one of those things, like when you're trying to put your house on Airbnb or something, when they see that sign over the kitchen table, it knows that that's a family-friendly Airbnb.
Well,
Yeah.
that's true.
Because you
for
could have
all
old
ages.
people, you could
Diapers
have-
just happen here.
Yeah.
It's like the slogan at your house, Jeff.
Yeah.
It's the slogan that reads, "My Shayla."
Wait, that's the slogan at your house?
It's because it used to be your house.
Oh.
And I know you didn't know your wife when you were 7 or 8, but I put it up there just to honor that you have a new family.
Well, okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm going to tell her about this, by the way, and she's probably going to say, have you ever had a Krispy Kreme? And I would say, well, go nuts, then.
Donuts.
For donuts.
It's a good question though, because I know where you had that Krispy Kreme, right underneath where I put the sign Mashayla.
I mean, I did eat many meals in that kitchen.
Strangest thing, when I saw your wife the last time and we were all hanging out in a group, I was like, I actually took my wife, this is a true story, on a date to a symphony. And she said, oh, which one? And I said, it was a symphony. And let me just explain to you what it was all about. And then I did that thing where I interpret symphonies. And I said, this is what I know. Did you know that the plural of box is boxen? And what I was getting at there was
Johann Bach.
Sebastian Bachsen.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
Well, he's my favorite composer because he also had this motto about his life. It was, rent is due on the 5th. And that's what he would say to Beethoven when he was doing his fifth. Yeah. So
Rent is due on the 5th.
You got to pay up.
It's actually what inspired them to write all the music for Rent.
That's right.
It's due on the 5th. It's just like Beethoven.
25,600
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how many
moments are so dear.
Hey,
that Kelly raised money.
Yeah.
I want to give Kelly some credit because you are a presence. And I mean that in like the professional way, but also in the heartwarming way. I gave
Is
a
that
talk.
large? Is that...
I never said that. I never said you were large. Yeah, that didn't even come out of these hats here. But what happened is I was just getting ready to go on stage at the Catholic Foundation a year ago in front of 1,000 people, black tie. I was exhausted. You knew I was nervous, and I was sitting there next to the stage, and I was in the dark. They were playing a video, and I look over at Kelly. True story. You give me that little thumbs up, kind of felt like you got this, and then I saw your mouth move. I thought this was spam. Like you thought when they said on the program I would be speaking that somebody spammed the program, but I was right there next to it, headed up there to give that talk. It wasn't spam at all.
It wasn't spam.
Yeah, I don't know what they served that night, but that wasn't spam.
I remember
either.
your opening line
Yeah,
for that
everybody
event
does.
was literally nothing popped into my head.
Holy Spirit.
Yeah, you just go with it.
That's why I gave him a thumbs up.
That's how you do it, Jeff. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
And man, I mean, Kelly, you brought us out here. You really just let us continue to conversate, and maybe we will donate to the symphony. Maybe we won't, but go big or go home is one of the rules I live by. As well as you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
Both of those are sound investing in philanthropic causes.
Very philanthropic.
Yeah.
So by saying little, you've said much.
Well, and I just, on your behalf, Kelly, I'd like to tease and or threaten all the other dioceses out there about the annexing.
Please
that's very
do.
possible.
Please do.
And say, not me, not Hermione, you. That's right. That's who we're coming after. None of those muggles.
No.
Wizards.
I didn't know if there was. I didn't.
So last, but you got.
I've got one more.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to end my part of this, and I'm going to go ahead and make a commitment, a pretty big commitment right now. And so I just wrote on this check on air. I made a commitment on air.
And I'll raise you one better, and I'll just say I'm going to write. Don't just fly, soar.
Soar on air. It has nothing to do with the radio waves. It just has to do with the airplane noise.
Yeah.
Thanks for that generosity.
Yeah.
You've done a great job.
It's beautiful.
You're the best development director at saying 0 words during. I know you kept your job. You shut up. Give them drinks.
Let them tell you what they want to do.
That's right.
All right. For all you muggles out there, we're looking forward to bringing you back, and we're going to leave the fake spirit world of Harry Potter, and we're going to join with True, Good, and Beautiful here on our road to eternity, through the fraternity, that's not how that works, to eternity, through the Trinity, in brotherly fraternity.
There you go.
Nailed it. Kelly, we're going to see you on the Friday show. We're going to go deep into the moments that formed you. This is going to be an incredible conversation. Stick around 4 days from now. And all of you are going to be giving money to the Catholic Diocese, your future home diocese.
It's going to happen. Just wait. You're either moving here or we're taking you over.
DallasCatholic.org.
That's you. And for the rest of you, we will
See you in the Eucharist.
God bless you.
God bless.
Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to join us at our undersized table, subscribe to the video version of the show on YouTube by typing @ that's the symbol @ so shift and 2 on your keyboard, @ _BeatiDudes on YouTube. We'll see you there.